Hi, welcome to the Law Simplified. I'm Shavin Bandarnayaka. Do we study a subject to actually understand and learn it, or to impress an examiner and pass an exam? This is a question that I get often asked by students on YouTube, on the Udemy courses, as well as my Masterclasses and fast track programs. My answer to them is, why does it have to be mutually exclusive? Why is it that you either learn a subject to understand it, or you study to understand it, or you do so to pass an exam or to impress an examiner? What I'd rather suggest is that if you understand the subject, you would impress your examiner. More often than not, I encounter situations where a student might think that specifically in a subject such as law, where it's quite vast, there are a lot of nuances, there's a lot of case law, a lot of articles and literature to go through, that the correct answer is essentially to show an examiner that you know everything in relation to that subject or that particular topic that you're answering. Now, I've encountered students who are just coming into the LLB or a law degree, and some who have progressed onto the second and sometimes the third years as well, that have this same mindset. Let me put down on paper everything that I've learned in a particular subject. Now, for the most part, this may achieve a pass grade for you. Chances are that you've incorporated enough and more elements in your answer, that you've gone through problem questions prior to the examination, and you've articulated as many number of cases and theory as possible. But it's quite impersonal. The one element that examiners actually look for in an answer script is what I like to call conviction. What conviction is essentially the personality of the student. Everything that you study through your subject guides, through the texts or the material that is recommended as essential reading by your university, is the same content or the material that every single student goes through. And by and large, it's the material that has been developed by the examiners themselves. You're essentially trying to narrate back to him or her what he or she has written, the material that the examiner already knows about. So in order to differentiate yourself from any other student and to impress an examiner, so to speak, you'll actually need to showcase some articulation and argument. And what's most important here, and what I mean by conviction, is you need to have a point of view. Now, in a previous video some time back, I mentioned the merits and demerits of doing a law degree and entering into the profession. And one element that I suggested, or one factor that I told you that you need to understand as part of not just being in academia, but also later on in your vocation, in your career, is that you're expected to have an opinion. You're expected to have an argument or a point of view. That is what will take you above and beyond in your examinations, as well as earn you a lucrative career later on as well in life, in your professional career. So having said that, the fundamental thing that examiners actually look for is your conviction. Do you have a point of view? Are you able to essentially put down that point of view to pen to paper essentially? Now, more often than not, no matter how much I have communicated this, no matter how much I have actually stressed on this, it is normal for a student to feel like he or she hasn't written enough. And usually what takes place, or the failure that takes place, is the inability of a student to understand what is being asked of him or her. You read the question, you're not sure exactly what's being asked of you, let alone dissect it into its nuances so that you can go ahead and properly address the question. So what the default rather that students tend to go towards is, because they can't understand the question, they simply write everything they know about it. I essentially call this the kitchen sink argument. Basically, when you don't know what's been asked of you, you just talk about everything in that particular topic. Now, what's understandable is that when you actually go online, there are plenty of resources that will help you determine any nooks and crannies of the law that you might have missed out on in terms of theory and understanding the topics that are out there. But the support or the guidance that's missing online is mostly in relation to how exactly you can articulate and put pen to paper, how you can present the arguments based on the knowledge that you've gathered. Have a look at the links in the description and you'll be able to get in touch with me for one of my fast track or masterclass sessions, or for that matter an ad hoc session where we can simply look at a problem or an essay based question and I can guide you on how to break it down and how to understand what an examiner is asking of you. One final note, something that you need to remember as well, it's always good to understand anything, because if you understand it, you don't need to memorize it. The fact that it's logically acceptable when you see the facts, the knowledge that is being presented to you, and once you can understand, once you can inculcate it, rather than simply taking it for what it is, if you are able to ask why, do you agree with it or not, you are able to create what is known as an academic personality. And this will not just help you in your academic career or rather your academia, but also when you go into the profession, because that is what's valued not just by clients but by firms as well that you intend to join. Thanks a lot for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you give a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos of this caliber, make sure you subscribe to The Law Simplified. Do visit thelawsimplified.com, the brand new website that was created specifically to amalgamate academics, career guidance, and everything The Law Simplified is about, including my masterclasses and fast track programs, where you can get in touch with me so that we can go through what exactly is necessary for you to not just pass but also ace your examinations. But until the next time that we meet, have fun, stay safe, and obey the law.